What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I was watching a video on the King of Consciousness YouTube channel. I believe this channel is started by Umar Johnson or somebody closely affiliated with him. And it's a pretty good channel. What they do is they pretty much take Umar Johnson's Instagram live streams and repost them to YouTube. And this stream was done a few days ago. And basically, he covered many topics. John Gruden's email, Shannon Sharp. But in this particular stream, he covered Dave Chappelle's and the situation with Netflix. Okay, and I'm going to kind of make it clean because, Umar Johnson can be quite blunt. But obviously in the Pan-African community, and I'm a part of that B1 community, and one of the kind of the rules there is, if you are a person that is not married to a black person, it is looked at as a sign of ultimate disrespect. All right? I'm a person who's lived in Poland for 6 years. And I am with that side of thinking to a certain degree. I've never dated anybody here in Europe that was white. I believe that if I'm if I'm going to procreate, it's a personal choice that I take. I deal only with those that are African American or those who are from the continent. I only deal with the blacks. It's a personal choice. I'm not holding this choice to anybody else. But many people who live our lifestyle, we feel like if you're a person that is dating somebody that's outside of the community, then we don't really want you to speak on the issues going on with blacks. Okay. However, that concept is starting to change. Dr. Umar Johnson, who is much more blunt about it than I am, he talked about it because somebody brought it to his attention. Dr. Umar Johnson, you've been defending Dave Chappelle, which he has. He's come out and applauded Dave Chappelle for standing up for the rights of African people, for the rights of African Americans in the country with injustice. While he believes that the LGBT community has more rights than us, and obviously we know what the backlash that it's caused. But then somebody in the pro-black community said, well, listen, Dave Chappelle is married to an Asian woman. What do you think about that? Dr. Umar Johnson answers this in a very, very, I believe, very strategic, very smart way. What he says is this: I'm aware that Dave Chappelle is married to a non-black woman. He has no excuse for that. He should be married to somebody from our community. That was a mistake in his opinion. That's what Umar is saying. However, that has nothing to do with the stance that he took. We cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater. And you know what? And my view on this has kind of evolved. I've always kind of had this view. I just never really talked about it. I don't talk about it so much here. I talk about it more or less on my Kingana channel. But I do believe that this is right to a certain degree. A lot of times, as I'm getting older and understand life a lot more, people date who they want. And it's not my ability to tell people who they can't date. It would be nice if we could really work together and work with our people, but we know that we have problems in our community with dating. Some of the athletes, like Kyrie Irving, he mentioned Brother Ben X the other day. Brother Ben X is a Nation of Islam. Clearly, Kyrie Irving, he dates women that are not black a lot of times, mulatto or whoever, or sometimes even all white. But he still has a tie to this community. And a lot of times, what we miss out on is the opportunity to learn from folks who have a different opinion than us. And just because Dave Chappelle is married to an Asian woman, that doesn't stop him from having an opinion on the black community. That's been a hard pill for me to even swallow, right? And last year, if you'd asked me that, I would have told you, Dave Chappelle, thanks, but no thanks. We don't want to hear it from you. And still, to a certain degree, I have that kind of feeling because of my training in the Pan-African and the B1 kind of movement. I've always been, I mean, how do you think I construct the Black manosphere, right? I have that, all of us or none of us kind of attitude. But we have to think about this. Just because somebody dates or marries a person of another race, that don't mean that they hate their own people. I don't mean that. You have Black women that have married, other races of men. That don't mean that they don't like Black men. Could have just meant that they married somebody that they were, close to and whatever. Same thing with Dave Chapelle. That don't mean that he don't like Black women or the, Black community. There's several stories of him messing with Black women. So it doesn't mean that. What it means is that that person has a partner that is not from our community. They're living their life, but they do feel tied to the community. And we have to deal with people in our community where we're at. Some Black men are not going to date Black women. Harry Belafonte is a great example. All right. Harry Belafonte was one of the biggest donors in the civil rights movement era. And Harry Belafonte would never touch a Black woman at the certain situations. But what did he do? He was very instrumental in the civil rights of Blacks. He was a big donor. He was a big contributor. And a lot of times with our people, we get caught up in, like for Robert Smith. Robert Smith made all those donations to those Black men in Morehouse. Oh, but his wife is white. But look at what he did. Okay? And I think that we got to look at it as, if people are into interracial relationships, they can still support, do business with the Black community, uplift the Black community, as long as they are not talking down on our people for the people that they're dealing with. Now, we do see that sometimes, and Dave Chappelle's never done that. And I can respect him for that. And for all the brothers that, you feel offended by some of my commentary, it's a personal issue for me. It's not for you. Some of you brothers out there, some of you Black men date out. All right. I understand why. I went to a predominantly white institution before. I understand that a lot of times you go to college and you get into corporate America and things like that, depending on where you live, and a lot of Black women. I understand that for certain cultural guys, you might not be very charismatic. You might be a technical guy. And dating in Black America, it could be a little different for you. So you might need to go elsewhere. That don't mean that you're not Black. It don't mean that you don't understand racism. It don't stop you from going through the same things that we all go through. I think that's a very high achievement for Dr. Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson is being mature here. And there have been a lot of times where certain things in the B1 communities and the Pan-African communities, there is some emotionalism there. Where we're like, if you're dealing with a person that's not Black, we don't want to talk to you. I think that to a certain degree, we're missing out on opportunities for our people to help us and speak up for us and do things. Because Dave Chapelle, there's a lot of people married to Black women, won't say nothing. Like Magic Johnson. I like Magic, but hey, he ain't gonna be quiet on this because of his son. Right? You have a lot of Black folks who are married to us and they won't speak up, right, for the people. So I think this is a very mature thing that Dr. Umar Johnson has done. I salute him on that. I also salute Dave Chapelle. I know he spent some time in Africa and things like that. And I think that this is just another form of Blacks understanding each other. Not hating somebody because, they married out of the community. Why didn't they do this and that? Everybody not going to think like you. You're going to have some hardcore pro-Blacks, B1 people like Dr. Umar, and you're going to have some people that see the world differently. It don't mean that you can't work with your people to achieve something to the greater common goal. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell, check out the first comment at the top, and as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.